Sutra 2. Sa tvasmin parama prema rupa. Devotion has been described as sacred love towards the Lord. This aphorism defines devotion. There are many scriptures that elaborate on the different classifications of devotion. The Shvetaswatar Upanishad 6.23 states, "The teachings presented here will be experienced as internal revelation when received by those great souls who have great loving devotion for the Guru and for the Lord." A Guru is a spiritual master or guide. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 states, "The best kind of devotion is one in which the devotee constantly offers loving worship, care, and service to Lord Krishna in a way that is pleasing to him, free from any ulterior motive, and not shrouded by reliance on intellectual knowledge or gyan, or purposeful action, karma." The Narad Bhakti states, "Devotion is action performed for the purpose of attaining Lord Krishna. By performing these activities, one attains sacred love, and devotion is service performed with the senses, free from all worldly motivation, for the Lord of the senses." The Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29.11-12 states, "Just as the current of the Ganga river flows eternally towards the ocean, similarly, at the mere hearing of my glories, the heart of the devotee melts and flows in an unbroken stream towards me. My devotee loves me alone, without selfish desires. Such is the path of devotion." The Gopal Tapani Upanishad 2.1 states, "The meaning of devotion is to serve him with adoration, by focusing the mind on him, with no expectation of gain in this life or the next." The Bhakti Rasayan 1.3 states, "What is devotion? It is a state in which the heart, melted by the intensity of spiritual practice, flows constantly towards the Lord." The Shandilya Bhakti Sutra, aphorism 2 states, "Devotion is unwavering attachment to the Lord." There are ample definitions of devotion from a wealth of scriptures, but Sage Narad has revealed the essence of devotion in simple words. Devotion should not be confused with mere emotion or fanaticism, which sometimes passes for religiosity. What is the nature of sacred love? Except for sacred love, or love for the Lord, all other loves are self-centered. Love for siblings, parents, children, and so forth can be egocentric in its nature. Some may deny this point and say that there are selfless relationships in this world too. For example, a mother's love for her child, or a wife's love for her husband, and a husband's love for his wife. To a certain extent, this is correct. But if one genuinely analyzes every worldly relationship, one can find elements of selfishness in them. A mother loves her child not because he or she is a child, but because he or she is her child. After some time, that unselfish love transforms, and she starts to expect some help and care from her child. A wife loves her husband because he is her husband, and the same is true vice versa. She does not love every married man, nor does her husband love the wives of others. This love is not pure because there is a sense of ownership. The wife or the husband will seek personal happiness, and when certain expectations arising from this egoism are not fulfilled, there will be discontentment between the two. These I, me, and mine are always there in every material relationship. In these relations, the exchange of love cannot be unconditional. Thus, the idea of possessiveness is always there in such loves. Sacred love for the Lord is always unselfish, and one loves Him not because He is one's own, but because He is a natural object of love. When one loves the Lord, there is an element of wanting to possess Him, and one can also, but this possession does not bind the Lord to one person. He does not belong to the individual only, even though he or she can have a personal relationship with Him. He belongs to everyone, and generally, devotees are aware of this. The channeling of love in a one-pointed direction is devotion. There should not be two objects of love. There is only one object, and this is Lord Krishna alone. The idea of sacred love cannot be described, nor is it possible to define its nature, because anything that is most elementary cannot be characterized. It is like a mixture of different sweets, which only the eater can taste. Though he is experiencing the moment, he is unable to describe the flavors and sensations. Generally, people are familiar with intense love, but find it hard to capture the essence of this feeling. However, it is important to distinguish between the two loves. Sacred love is not just intense love alone, because intense love that is not directed towards the Lord is impure, whereas sacred love for the Lord is pure. One can inquire why one loves the Lord, and conversely, why one loves oneself. To have love for oneself is innate. In the same way, devotees cannot help but love the Lord. Happiness for a devotee lies in offering, not in receiving. A devotee does not expect anything from the Lord. Very few reach this level of devotion. Narad explains what happens to those who start to practice devotion and fall before reaching this exalted stage of devotion. If an aspirant renounces the social duties enjoined upon him for the sake of worshipping Krishna's lotus feet, but gets diverted before attaining the goal, can any inauspiciousness befall him because of that? On the other hand, what is truly gained by a person who fulfills all the duties tradition expects of him if he does not love the Lord? Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. If one is diverted away from service, either through some form of deviation or through death, there is no possibility of any detriment, because one who has acquired a taste for devotion is not a subject of action or karma, and its resulting consequence in this life or any other. Even if the devotee is selfish, he is not debarred. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.21.24, the Lord says, "My devotees' worship is never in vain." Devotion is so sublime, only those who are on this path can understand who the Lord is, and the tenets of devotion can be practiced by anyone.